Okay, so once again, good morning. So our topic actually for today is about tips and preparation for thesis or research defense, no? So, or presentation. Of course, thesis or research defense is opportunity for you to present your research study before other academic professional who will evaluate the quality of your academic work. So, while a research defense can sometimes feel like a cross-examination of a court of law, in reality, there is no need to fear your thesis or research defense as long as you are well prepared. No? So, of course, in this topic, we're going to discuss on how to prepare for a thesis defense, what to expect at the thesis defense itself, and what comes after your defense. No? Now, the fundamental purpose of thesis defense is to prove that you have mastered your subjects or your title and can be considered as an acknowledgeable expert in your field. So thereby allowing you to graduate successfully. So for any or for many students, a thesis is one of the first attempts of conducting original research and demonstrating that you are equipped, to functions as an independent expert in your field. So if qualified, wait, I will accept. Miss Mata, ginawa kitang buhos para pwede ka mag-accept.
Yes po, okay, thank you.
So again, if a qualified academic professional can assess your work, question your methods and results, and confirm that your study is sound and novel, then you meet the requirements. Wait for a minute. Okay, so again, the exact information, or the exact format and expectation for your thesis defense will differ depending on the region you're studying, and of course your institution rules, for the thesis program or thesis program. So most commonly, especially in the thesis defense meeting, may have just 2 or 3 examiners, most commonly 3, 3 to 5, or you may have a whole okay, or you may have a whole of panel of examiners along with your proposal, of course, then sinisingit na dapat. So, okay, please turn off your So along with an audience, most commonly, especially right now, in the field of education. So we're looking forward there's somebody who are also present, even the incoming first year master's degree for the undergraduate program, the invited third year. Now, if the thought of facing your professor, peers, and parents to present your research, so, of course, for many students, a thesis is one of the first attempts of conducting original research and demonstrating that you are equipped, to function as an independent expert, So, moreover, a thesis defense is a great opportunity naman, to you, in a public speaking skills as well as talk about your research. So, at your research defense, you will discuss everything you've learned with a group of interested examiners who are eager to hear your thoughts. So, while the formats for a thesis or research defense will vary as mentioned, most thesis or research defenses consist of presenting your research study, of course, most commonly using Microsoft PowerPoint, and any other similar tools. Answering questions from your thesis committee, and receiving feedback from your thesis committee. So now, how can you prepare for it? No? So I'll give you about some important tips. No? Preparing before the defense. No? The best way to prepare for a research defense is to attend other defenses at your institution so that you know what to expect. No? It is useful to attend multiple defense and ask others who have gone through the process what it was like. No? Let's say the senior students, no, your second year master's degree and MBA, no, are often happy to provide advice and can give you specific insights about particular examiners as well as details of the administrative process at your institution. Most commonly, no, if you're seniors, no, if you ask seniors, oh, how about Dr. Abante as a panel? No, Dr. Abante always asking about the research gaps. No, how could I able to come up with this title? Is there any review of related literature? How you'll be able to use the review of related literature? It's just a thematic, semantic, or synthesis, and so on. So prior to that, you have an idea already. Let's say, for example, if Dr. Abante is one of your panel, you have an idea already what you'll be able to prepare. Napaka-importante nun, no? Of course, you should also talk to your advisor, no? Well in advance of your defense about what to expect. So as whether you need to shortlist your own committee, how long your presentation should be, and how long the thesis defense will be. And the duration of a thesis defense varies by the degree level as well as the institution. On average, expect your defense to be at least an hour long, possibly longer for a PhD program. So ang MBA kadalasan, kung title sa UCC po 30 minutes, kapag pre-oral 1 hour. So, what should your presentation cover and how can you prepare it? You will need, of course, to prepare a presentation that will cover the details of your research study. Most commonly, especially if title defense, they just only look with your variables, no? Looking forward with your statement of the problem, and at the same time, of course, your methodology. Okay? Your possible participants of the study, the coverage of your research. Na most commonly, yun na naman ang kailangan kapag thesis title defense. Then, so while preparing your presentation, also prepare a list of questions and answers that you think are likely to be asked by your committee. No? If you can, enlist the help of a classmate or a friend to be the examiner. And they can ask your questions about your research study, so you will be able to practice, no, addressing these questions. One mistake many students make is assuming that all members in their defense committee will thoroughly read their thesis prior to the defense. This is simply not always the case. For this reason, you should make sure your presentation makes sense to someone who has not actually read your thesis. A typical thesis defense presentation gives an introduction to the topic, explain how the study is significant in the field. You need to cover the main highlights of the methodology and possible results of the study, no? And pick out the main points from the discussion and conclusion, no? So what should you do the day before your defense? Kasi most commonly, sometimes, especially ako personally, ako 1 week before ahead, okay, nagre-record na ako, tinatry ko na siya sa salamin, tinitinan ko yung sarili ko, ano yung mga possible na tanong and so on. So, before your thesis defense, no, make sure you have backups of everything you need saved in multiple formats and multiple locations. Paano pag during that time, pumalya ang iyong computer, pumalya ang iyong internet connection? So what will be the possible ano? Dapat alam mo na yon. Put your presentation in your thesis on a USB drive or in a Google Drive, on a cloud, or email it to yourself. Upload it to the cloud, as I mentioned, and print it out. No, leave nothing to chance. No, you want to be absolutely prepared to defend your thesis, short of an act of God obliterating the venue. In addition, make sure you prepare hard copies or printouts of both your thesis and slideshow for the committee members. That at least 3 days before your defense, may copy na dapat yung panel. No? It not need to be professionally bound at this stage, but they will appreciate having reference materials on hand. No? And finally, there are some practical steps to take in preparation for the thesis defense. No, choose your outfit in advance. No, because you should dress professionally and practice presenting it, as I mentioned. No, in it. You should also make sure you know the exact location of the thesis defense venue. Kapag naman po online, alam niyo po kung Google Meet or kaya Zoom siya para ma-download niyo na po yung application kung wala pa kayo sa laptop niyo or sa PC ninyo. You need also to scope out the venue before your defense if possible. So you can imagine yourself there while you rehearse. No? If possible, let's say for example, kung face-to-face na yun at sa UCC, alam niyo yung defense room, as early, pwedeng pumunta kayo doon, tapos tinignan niyo yung venue. Okay? So, again, if you are presenting virtually, test all your equipments in advance and have a backup plan in case your internet goes out or your computer suddenly crashes. No? Most importantly, make sure that you eat well and get proper rest the night before. And don't stay up late rehearsing last minute in the hopes of improving your chances of passing your defense. You will do much better if you are well rested and alert. Okay, time to shine. Let's say during the defense. What can you expect on the day of the defense? No, typically, no, you will enter the room. Let's say kung face-to-face, set up and begin your presentation once the committee indicates that they are ready. So as I mentioned earlier, it is always advisable to bring hard copies of your thesis in a slideshow for the committee. That way, they can easily refer to what you are talking about as you present. No? Make sure you also bring a pencil and notebook with you to take notes and some water, no, because you will get thirsty as you talk. No? So after you are done with the presentation, the committee members will ask questions. No? Try to stay calm and remember you are not on trial. No? Your committee generally wants you to succeed, but they also want you to prove that you are really know what you're talking about. Do your best to answer their questions and never be afraid to admit when you don't know something. It is much better to be honest than to be caught lying or making something up during your thesis defense. After the question and answer portion or answer session, depending on your institution, you may be asked to leave the room while the committee deliberates. No? You may also be present while they discuss the merits of your defense and make suggestions for how to revise it. Alternatively, they might adjourn to another room if there is a large audience present. So after they deliberate, they will usually thank you for your time and your defense will be over. So at some institution, they will inform you if you pass right away, while at others, you will find out after a few days. So how does the committee decide if your work is good or not? Okay? In general, no, you can expect your thesis defense and your thesis as a whole to be evaluated based on different criteria. Number one, whether the thesis meets the departmental requirements. Kasi nga po, kung panel kami, binibigyan kami ng pinaka-thesis manual para alam namin kung anong dapat hahanapin. Whether the research study is logical and clear. Whether the stated objectives are met in the study. Use of primary and secondary literature is also important. Use of relevant and up-to-date sources. Kasi tandaan nyo, lagi po tayong 5 years ang recency na inyong literature and studies. No? Review of literature and studies. Lagi yan dapat. Kung ngayon po ay 2022, dapat 2018. Dapat ang panel walang makikitang 2016, 2015 sa inyong paper. Okay? Methodological rigor. No? Importante yon. Your ability to critically analyze data, facts, relevant literature, and synthesize information into a coherent narrative. Your writing quality and flow is important. The validity of your conclusion based on your data and analysis. The relevance and importance of your research study in the field. Itinatanong ng panel yan. What do you think is the relevance and importance of your research study in your field of your specialization? And your ability to clearly and coherently present what your thesis is about. Your ability to answer questions about your work accurately and in depth. No? and your ability to acknowledge and consider other theories or perspectives and explain why you dismiss one theory in favor of another. Then the examining committee also looking forward that did the presenter meet the thesis criteria by the institution? Did she perform high quality research work? Did she know what she's talking about? Ayun. Then after the defense, you should definitely celebrate and congratulate yourself for all your hard work. Unfortunately, you aren't quite done yet. Ibig sabihin natin, panel, you pass. Congratulations. No, although you may be notified by the committee about passing, it is also very likely that you will be asked to make some changes to your thesis before you are finally done. You should work with your advisors to finalize and incorporate any comments you receive into your work as quickly as possible. After your thesis is approved, you will need to have it professionally bound and then submit copies to your university, because you will also get the chance to order copies for yourself. Now, this process also differs by institution. So make sure you talk to the administration department to figure out what you need to do and when to complete this process. All in all, while a thesis defense is a scary and overwhelming event, it is also an incredible achievement, because earning your degree is no small feat, no? And you should definitely feel proud of yourself once you have done it. You need also, of course, to consider some possible recommendations, no, from your teachers, from your panel, no, a lot more, no, because presentation software programs have advanced to the point where you no longer need to be experienced designer to put together, no? Minsan kasi yung paggawa ng presentation, nagkakaproblema pa tayo dyan. Okay? So, mistakes to avoid. A researcher or a student, your number one goal isn't just to provide insight into a topic, no? It's to do so in a compelling way. Again, it is important to communicate ideas in a way that is both easy to understand for people who haven't completed the work you have, and to do is in a compelling and engaging way. In many ways, it's like telling a story, albeit one that is heavily research-oriented. Every story has a beginning, middle, and end, and you need to ensure that the content in the presentation has a proper narrative flow. So in many ways, your presentation will operate exactly along the same lines to that end. No? Always remember to make sure that the information is presented not only in the right manner, but also in the right order to complement intent and maximize impact. So if you have 3 subtopics within a presentation, all of which are related but are still different ideas, don't mix and match the content. Don't jump from one topic to another and back again. You're only going to lose focus and eventually the attention of your reader. If you're preparing your presentation and realize that you're actually kind of covering 2 distinct and different topics, don't be afraid to break one presentation into 2. You'll able to devote you'll be able to devote more attention to promoting its idea, and you'll walk away with 2 great pieces of research presentation instead of 1. Okay? Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, ang length po ng presentation, depende po yun sa kung kayo po ay undergrad, kung kayo po ay master's degree, kung pre-oral po yan, title and final defense. So, nagbabary yung time doon. Okay, what else? Does it feel like to end your presentation is getting a little sluggish? You feel that it should be over, but there are 10 slides to go still. Be precise in your editing process. Rest assured that you'll think yourself when the end result is much more powerful than it would be if it had remained bloated. Again, in PowerPoint presentation, you must observe yung title natin is at least 40 ang size. Yung content, at least 32 to 34 yung content. At dapat po, 6 to 7 lines lang per slide. At dapat po bulleted lang siya. Hindi yung pinapi-paste mo na yung laman ng inyong documents. Okay? Clear po tayo doon? Okay, so I think that's it for the tips, no, and preparation. Of course,